morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to our weekly review of how religion impacts humanity. This week's headlines. The Arkansas governor signed a bill allowing medical workers to refuse treatment to LGBTQ people. A woman accused of witchcraft petitioned the Nigerian National Human Rights Commission panel. Residents defend the Robert E. Lee High School name, with Jesus himself never condemned slavery. Evangelist Franklin Graham claims God sent a supermoon to free the container ship that was blocking the Suez canal. The Batley Grammar School blasphemy furore rumbles on. US church membership falls below the majority for the first time. Women, LGBT people and students protest for rights in Turkey. Nike sues over Satan shoes with human blood. In Little Rock, Arkansas, Governor Asa Hutchinson on Friday signed into law legislation allowing doctors to refuse to treat someone because of religious or moral objections, a move that opponents have said will give providers broad powers to turn away LGBTQ patients and others. The measure, says healthcare workers and institutions, have the right to not participate in non-emergency treatments that violate their conscience. I support this right of conscience so long as emergency care is exempted and conscious objection cannot be used to deny general health service to any class of people, Hutchinson said in a statement released by his office. Most importantly, the federal laws that prohibit discrimination on the basis of race, sex, gender, and national origin continue to apply to the delivery of healthcare services. But opponents of the law, including the Human Rights Campaign and the American Civil Liberties Union, have said it will allow doctors to refuse to offer services for LGBTQ patients. The State Chamber of Commerce also opposed the measure, saying it sends the wrong message about the state. Opponents have said types of health care that could be cut off include maintaining hormone treatments for transgender patients needing inpatient care for an infection, or grief counseling for a same-sex couple. They've also said it could be used to refuse to fill prescriptions for birth control or by physicians' assistants to override patient directives on end-of-life care. There is no sugarcoating this. This bill is another brazen attempt to make it easier to discriminate against people and deny Arkansans the healthcare services they need. Nigerian humanist lawyer Leo Igwe is interviewed on the subject of a witchcraft case brought to the attention of the Human Rights Commission in Nigeria.
The son of a woman accused of witchcraft has testified in Adamawa State about how his mother was subjected to cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment by her accusers. Speaking at the panel of the National Human Rights Commission sitting in Yola, the son said that the accusation, which started as a neighborhood gossip, which is often the case, was reinforced by a pastor who was later joined by some of his church members in abusing his mother. To tell us a little bit more about this case, we are on the line with a human rights lawyer based in Nigeria, Dr. Leo Igwe. Dr. Igwe, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
How are you this morning?
Yeah, I'm doing great. And you?
Great, and thank you very much, always, Doc, for making time to speak to us. Now, as we get into the conversation, how rife is the issue of witchcraft, or at least the accusations like this one that we are talking about in Nigeria?
Yeah, actually, these accusations are rampant.
Mm.
Okay, because a lot of people find themselves in a very stressful situation, and they try to look for ways to make sense either of their poverty, lack of progress, especially now we have the pandemic, there's lockdown, and many businesses are short, and many cannot go to work, and we don't have any social welfare system to take care of people, so there are no unemployment benefits, as the case may be. So people are so desperate to make sense of their situations of poverty and situations of misery and lack of means to really address their day-to-day needs. So is often the case that people are suspected, they suspect their neighbors to be engaging in some kind of magical harm or magical activities that are responsible for their misfortune.
Mm. And I mean, Doc, I'm sure you and I would agree that in Africa, we believe so much in the supernatural. We believe in juju, we believe in muti and all those things, which might lead to such beliefs and complications where things do not happen or happen a certain way that we suspect some sort of a supernatural, power that is taken over. I mean, I always talk about how, in football, and I'm sure you know this, that in Africa, there's serious belief in terms of juju and so on in football, but whether it works or not, that's a topic for another day. So we do believe in some sort of juju and supernatural power in Africa, isn't it?
Yes, we do. And let us not make it Africa specific.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, for purpose of this conversation, yes, I'm sticking to the continent. But of course, it's not only an African problem, or issue rather.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But if we situate it properly and make sure that we don't think that supernatural belief is only African. It's African. No, it is European, it's American, and all that. But what happens here is that very often we have to ask ourselves, under what context, under what situation do these supernatural beliefs feature? Like in the case of this woman, and we have a situation where people try to scapegoat her. They scapegoated her. They blamed her for maybe the misfortune, difficulties that they encountered. So under what circumstances do these supernatural beliefs thrive? In circumstances of poverty and deprivation, in circumstances where people do not have the material means to attend to their needs. So it is linked to that poverty, pervasive poverty, not only on the continent. And that is why when you look at other areas, other parts of the world, where they have made significant progress to conquer poverty and to provide for their material needs, at least basically, we have seen these supernatural beliefs diminish.
So let's talk specifically to this case, as we understand that the son of this woman who has been accused of witchcraft did testify at the Adamawa state about how the mother was subjected to this cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment. I mean, how did this issue start so that it leads to the National Human Rights Commission?
Yeah, well, there is a campaign to address sexual and gender-based violence in Nigeria. And people were told who had experiences of gender-based violence, were told to bring petitions to the National Human Rights Commission. And the son of this accused woman, brought a petition to the commission. And it is important for us to also understand that very often when people are accused and persecuted, people abandon them. People abandon the accused to their faith. People abandon the alleged witches to their faith. So, but here now we see, we have seen something different. A relative of the accused stepping forward and insisting that what the mother suffered was unjust, and those who accused them, and they have something, they need to pay for it. They need to brought to account. So this is exactly what we're saying. That very often when people are accused, Relatives abandon them. They don't come forward. They don't seek redress. They don't fight for justice for these people. So that's why this particular instance should be an example, not just for the accused in Nigeria, but all over the continent. People whose relatives are accused should step forward. They should go to court. They should go to police. They should go to the Human Rights Commission and seek redress, because accusation, which persecution, is unjust.
In related news, a daughter killed her mother because her pastor claimed she was a witch. Police operatives in Ondo State have arrested Blessing Jimo, a 30-year-old woman, for allegedly killing her mother. Blessing Jimo was paraded at the state police station on Monday, March the 29th. She told the journalists that she hacked her mum to death with a cutlass after a pastor told her that she was a witch and was behind all her failures in life. A school board in Jacksonville, Florida, proposed changing the name of its Robert E. Lee High School and held community hearings on the issue. Comments made in support of the school's name outraged many at the hearings who didn't want to know that Jesus did not outlaw slavery.
You mentioned Christianity, and that if you're Christians, you shouldn't stand for this. Well, that's awfully funny that you want to bring up Christianity when it says in the Bible, Jesus himself never condemned slavery. In fact, he said slaves have an obligation to obey their master. So if you're going to throw around Christianity, say both sides.
Evangelist Franklin Graham credits God with freeing the boat that blocked the Suez Canal. He doesn't bother to blame God for getting the boat stuck in the first place, of course. But according to Graham, his God sent a supermoon to raise the tide and free the ship. Inzamam Rashid of Sky News reports that parents have made a conciliatory statement about the Batley Grammar School blasphemy issue. Here's a video from Sky.
We, as parents and citizens, stand resolute that our children should be able to attend school without having their faith, which is protected in law, or their culture ridiculed, insulted, or vilified. Our children should be allowed to engage with challenging ideas such as blasphemy without their teachers having to resort to using Islamophobic material. Such material only serves to marginalize Muslim communities and spread Islamophobic sentiment. On such a sensitive matter, constructive discussion is of the utmost importance, and we are grateful for the school's cooperation on the matter thus far. Unfortunately, unhelpful comments and biased media reporting that seek to hijack the issue has undermined the essential relationship between local communities and local public institutions. We are fully invested in dialogue and legitimate engagement. Any and all such threats against the school and staff involved undermine our efforts and are completely contrary to our values as concerned parents, citizens, and Muslims. We therefore call for calm in order to allow for fruitful dialogue and space for a transparent investigation to be undertaken. With the support provided by the head teacher of Batley Grammar School and other local organisations for which we are grateful, we are working to achieve an amicable resolution. The school has actioned suspension of staff involved.
Commentators point out that blasphemy has not been a crime in England and Wales since 2008, and it hasn't been prosecuted for a century. We have the freedom of speech to criticise and mock any religion. Americans' membership of houses of worship has continued to decline last year, dropping below 50% for the first time in Gallup's 8-decade-long trend. In 2020, 47% of Americans said they belonged to a church, synagogue, or mosque. That was down from 50% in 2018 and 70% in 1999. US church membership was 73% when Gallup first measured it in 1937, and remained near 70% for the next 6 decades before beginning a steady decline around the turn of the 21st century. In Istanbul, hundreds of demonstrators gathered on Saturday for anti-government protests, demanding the reversal of recent decisions by Turkey's president that affect students, women, and the LGBT community. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan issued a surprise decree a week ago ending Turkey's participation in a landmark treaty aimed at protecting women from violence. About 1,000 women and their friends turned up on Saturday to protest the country's withdrawal from the Council of Europe's Istanbul Convention. Students and women protesting also demanded an end to anti-LGBT actions amid growing intolerance from the government and police. The government has said one of the reasons Turkey pulled out of the Istanbul Convention is because it thinks the treaty attempts to normalize homosexuality. Nike is suing Brooklyn art collective Mischief over a controversial pair of Satan's shoes that contain a drop of real human blood in the soles. The $1,018 trainers, which featured an inverted cross, a pentagram, and the words Luke 10:18, were made using modified Nike Air Max 97s. Mischief released 666 pairs of the shoes on Monday in collaboration with rapper Lil Nas X, and says they sold out in less than a minute. Nike claims trademark infringement. It has also asked the court to stop Mischief from selling the shoes and prevent them from using its famous swoosh design mark. Stay tuned on this channel for Ask the Atheist, the live question and answer show with guest this week, Steve McRae, starting in about 10 minutes. We will be back with our weekly news review on our platforms at the same time next week. Please like, share, comment, set the notifications, etc. Thank you for watching.